What's going on, guys? Welcome to a weekly gaming news show. I am your host and moderator, Trenell, here with my good buddy Todd. Say what's up.
What's up? Better known as Up Jump the Boogie.
Up jump the boogie. I got a few names on the internet, but we're not going to jump into those. So this is a podcast where we talk about the weekly news, in gaming. And today has been a very busy week in gaming because E3 has just concluded. And wow, there's so much news that we're not even going to be able to get into it all. So we're going to just pick and choose, a couple stories and, give a basic rundown of E3 because, wow, we got a lot of details.
Yeah, it's big week for our first week, right?
Yeah,
perfect time.
Big week, yeah, perfect time to launch a podcast.
A lot to talk about.
Yeah.
It's always nice.
Okay, so we're going to do a segment, and this is going to be something that we try to do every week to kind of break the ice. And, with this being our very first podcast, we definitely need an icebreaker. We need to, try to mellow out, get the creative juices flowing. So for this week's icebreaker, Boogie, I want you to explain your favorite E3 moment and why.
Well, there's been a lot.
Yeah.
But my favorite is not because it was such a great, a groundbreaking moment. It's because of how butthurt a group of people are afterwards.
Right.
And it's when Square announced Final Fantasy for the Xbox 360. Because everybody knows, Square Final Fantasy, that was PlayStation exclusive. They stole it from Nintendo way back in the day, but PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, if you wanted a Final Fantasy, you had to be on PlayStation. And when they announced it for Xbox, there was a lot of griping and people upset. I'll never buy your game again. How could you do this to us type thing. I thought it was hilarious, personally. I mean, I didn't think it was that serious, but I thought it was pretty fun to watch the reaction to the people.
So you mean the announcement for Final Fantasy, was it 15?
No, it was it 13? I believe it's Final Fantasy 13.
So you mean the first Final Fantasy to be announced on an Xbox?
On the system outside of PlayStation.
Okay. So dang, what year was that? I have no idea what year that was. We'll have to go back and.
I can tell you what year that was. That was in 2008.
2008. Okay.
Yep, Final Fantasy 13, 2008.
Okay.
So yeah, the collective butthurt had very amused.
Yeah. Okay, so one of my favorite E3 moments, and not because it was something that I personally wanted, but man, I think last year's E3, like everybody was calling 2015 the year that dreams came true because there was just so many good things that happened last E3, and my favorite, and this is probably a lot of people's favorite, was the announcement that Shenmue 3 was was coming.
Yeah,
it was a real thing, and like that, I've played Shenmue. I've beaten the first one, never beaten the second one. And I have, friends that are just like really deep in the community and have been praying for, any kind of like re-release of the originals or anything, because if you look into Shenmue, like you'll realize that this guy, Yu Suzuki, I think his name is, the creator, he planned like an entire epic was planned, and with the fall of the Dreamcast. And Sega really not wanting to put a whole lot of money into a franchise that really didn't sell that well.
Is it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it that they wouldn't or they couldn't?
They wouldn't. I mean, Shenmue did not sell, man. And just looking at kind of games like today, like where it's like an open environment, like that's kind of like the norm. But Shenmue broke a lot of boundaries.
Yeah,
very, very innovative.
Yeah, I was a Dreamcast owner, and that was Shenmue was. I had that game. It was amazing.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
Yeah. So coming out on the stage after years of just like nothing, and just announcing Shenmue 3 is I almost cried. And like I called my friend, and like the only thing that he could like say to me like was just like inaudible screams. He was like, "Oh!" Like that's the only thing I got over the phone with him. It was crazy, and I think that'll probably be a long-lasting like top five E3 moments for a lot of people, and it's probably one of my favorites. Just of you know how awesome it was.
Yeah, yeah. And so do we have a release date for that yet?
I didn't actually get to back it on Kickstarter. I don't think that there's a release date. I don't think so. But you know, the backers they get like the news and the details and all that stuff on
Right.
Kickstarter. I haven't heard anything about it, but apparently there has been like new like footage or like gameplay or pictures and screens of it's coming along. It's coming along. I don't expect it for a couple of years though.
Yeah, it's definitely a game I will get. It's one of the few games because you know me, I'm a one game guy.
Right. You
Yeah,
just sit there and just play one for like ever.
Yeah, so it's one of the few games that it'll drag me away from whatever I'm playing. I'm pretty sure of it because I did enjoy playing the first one. The second one not so much. It just didn't seem the same. But the
Right.
first one was really good.
Let's go ahead and move on. All right, so the next segment here is just going to be our top five news stories of the week. All of them are somewhat E3 related, or are E3 related. This is
Or pretty much everything was all gaming news this week was E3.
E3,
There was
yeah.
very little news that wasn't involving E3.
Right. Yeah. So this is our E3 episode, and the first story that we are going to talk about is EA Originals and how they're coming out with a new partnership program with indie developers. Boogie, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, we've seen this before, right? We've seen it with Xbox Arcade or ID at Xbox. Steam has a very strong. I think Steam is probably doing it the best with their vibrant indie game section on the Steam store. And then also one that's little known, Activision. They brought Sierra. I remember Sierra Games. They brought them and they rebranded them as a indie game developer. And
I didn't know that.
they got a few games. I think it's like five games. I believe it is. And my thoughts is it's great that they're putting these. They're trying to get indie developers out into the public, especially on consoles, because it's very hard to get on a console.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I remember some of the stories or like the process of getting a game out on Xbox Live Arcade was pretty strenuous.
It's outrageous, yeah, it was. But my problem with that is, and I've seen this, and we talked about this before we started the show. The Call of Duty-fying of the gaming industry is where these big publishers won't take chances on new IPs. And I feel like that, for instance, I don't know how many people have known, you didn't know, and I didn't know about the Sierra game rebranding until I started doing a little research. But apparently they launched in 2014. They have 4 games. They have King's Quest, Geometry Wars 3, Shiftlins, and Velocity. Nobody knows about them because there's no marketing. There's nothing behind it.
Oh yeah,
So-
I've seen King's Quest and I actually own Geometry Wars 3. That's actually a really fun game.
Right.
I did
Now-
not know that it was made by Sierra.
Exactly. So I'm assuming you had Geometry Wars and Geometry Wars 2 on Xbox Arcade, correct?
Yeah.
And that's why you have Geometry Wars 3 is because you've known that title, and it is a good game. I have the first 2. I didn't know about, and I don't have 3. But the problem I see with this is there's no marketing push unless you actually are actively looking for it. You're not going to know about it,
Right.
and it's what's the point in having these indie developers develop these games and you publish them if you're not going to tell anybody about them?
Right. And just going back for a second and talking about the Xbox ID program, like that was actually not. It wasn't that much beneficial for the developers because in order for indie developers to get their games, because there was 2 sections, there was the Xbox Live Arcade section, and then there was an indie games portion. And I'll bring up some kind of graphic or image, and I'll let the people that are watching see what I'm talking about. The indie game section of Xbox Live was terrible. It was full of garbage. Like, oh my god,
Phone app games.
yeah, like pretty much like phone app games. They had like weird dating sims and like 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 kooky freaking what's the word I'm looking for? Um, quick time event games, like using like live action and like just the worst games ever. And then the indie games that actually went through the process, they were rebranded as Microsoft Studio Productions. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it wasn't really like, there was an indie game on Xbox Live that was doing well. It was an indie studio went to Xbox and they kind of just like put the game on the arcade as opposed to the indie section. And
Right.
and it looks like Xbox is trying to like revamp their indie scene with the ID at Xbox. So hopefully they do it a little better because the Xbox Live Arcade is dead. Like
Right.
they don't even post anything there.
Right. It got overran with a bunch of games, like Flappy Bird type games. And what was happening is one game would be fairly popular and 100 other people would copy it.
Right, right. Yeah, the same thing on like iOS. You would have like a popular like idea, and then like you would get games that would actually get put out that were like blatant copies of it.
Right.
It was crazy. Like I'm pretty sure I saw a Mario clone that uses the Xbox Live avatars instead of like Mario and Luigi.
Right.
It's like
It's
it's freaking crazy.
right. And this also has me the question. It may be something we may want to dig into deeper. Project Spark, because wasn't Project
Oh
Spark
yeah.
supposed to be community generated gaming, right?
Yeah, but that wasn't really an indie game. I think that, or I could be wrong. I'm not exactly sure. I thought that was something that was done by Microsoft Studios.
So yeah, it's a Microsoft game, but the whole ideal of it is basically like a Minecraft. Craft.
Yeah, Minecraft.
The community builds content or generates content.
Yeah, or like
Community.
Little Big Planet or something like that.
Right. Exactly.
But it's like on a much bigger scale because you got like entire like 3D like environments and worlds, and it seemed like a really good idea. And I actually picked it up at launch. When I first got my Xbox One, I picked that up, and it was just like bland and boring, and I was like, "Ooh, this is not fun."
Yeah. Exactly. And again, it's another one of those community-based projects that goes by the wayside, never to be heard from again. Right.
Right. Well, I think last year was like the last like push that they tried to do for Project Spark, and that's when they announced that Conquer from Conquer's Bad Fur Day would
Right.
be included in there instead of like making a new Conquer game. They was like, well, I guess we have to make our own. And I was like, wow, like they really don't know what to do with this character and this franchise because they're just importing like his likeness
It's everything.
into freaking Project Spark. And like that game, it's been out for a while and it still feels like unpolished
Un-
and like unrefined. It just doesn't look like a solid experience at all.
Right. And unfortunately, Microsoft has a bad habit of coming out with these big, overreaching plans that don't go anywhere, and they just leave them at the wayside. There's a whole pile of litter of Microsoft, uh, quote unquote, innovations
Yeah,
that started off good. They were really good ideas, but they never followed through.
yeah. I feel like as far as consoles, PlayStation's probably doing the indie game scene a little better, but none of the consoles are doing as good as Steam. Steam is killing it.
Right, and like I said, my biggest issue, especially with these big publishers, Microsoft, Activision, if you're gonna have these indie groups or this indie division, you gotta at least publicize it, let people know they're out there. So these indie developers, they're not just making their games to sit in purgatory forever.
Yeah.
My biggest concern, I'm a cynic, so my belief is these guys want to have these indie developers publish these games for them, and if it's a hit, they'll just take over it,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then we'll get a new whatever game it is every year developed by 3 different studios.
Right. Yeah, and I think I can't remember the name of the studio, but there was an indie studio that pretty much just became a subsidiary of Microsoft Game Studios, and just kept making like small little arcade games for them instead of like doing their own thing.
All right, and I will say EA. This announcement, I don't trust EA with anything.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
EA does not have the best rep, and quite frankly, their conference was boring as hell.
yeah, I mean, it's EA. I don't. When was the last new IP EA released that they actually backed?
What did they come out with? Oh,
Mirror's
yeah,
Edge.
Mirror's Edge.
I guess they do have a follow up for that, but what's that? 5 6 years later,
Oh, yeah, and I was actually surprised because that game didn't
it didn't do
it
well.
didn't do well
No.
initially, and I don't know how well it's doing now either. I didn't want to pick it up.
Yeah, I mean, you can expect, just like doing taxes, EA to gouge you in Madden and FIFA
Yeah.
and Battlefield of some sort. But
Now they got the
as
Star
far
Wars
as,
franchise.
I'm sorry.
I said now they got the Star Wars
Yeah,
franchise.
Star Wars. Yeah, I mean, that's just a reskin Battlefield in my opinion, but
Yeah,
that's for another day.
yeah, that's for another episode.
Um, but yeah, EA doesn't have the best track record in my opinion as far as original IPs. I mean, they take established things and they'll publish those until the wheels fall off.
Right. Yeah, I agree 100%.
Okay, so let's moving on. Moving on from that
So yeah,
story.
let's move on from that story and get into our second story of the day.
Okay, so it's E3, big E3 week, and so we're going to talk about these hardware announcements. Xbox announced two new Xbox. Microsoft,
Two,
sorry,
yeah,
announced two new Xboxes. The PlayStation 4.5 was not. It was touched upon, but really wasn't big. They kind of announced it prior to
yeah,
E3,
yeah.
right?
There
They
was it
announced,
was yeah, before E3 they
right,
actually like announced it.
and then Nintendo didn't say anything about the NX, but they said they wouldn't. They said it's
Right,
not going to be anything about the NX at E3,
right.
which, to be quite honest, that doesn't mean anything to me.
I mean, is. I'm actually a little salty at Nintendo because I am a Wii U owner, and
Sorry.
yeah, I honestly think that even though the system was cheaper, came at a cheaper price point at its launch, it was cheaper than both the other consoles. I don't feel like I got my money's worth. Like God, like I'm trying to just get my thoughts together because the Wii just coming up, like Nintendo coming off of the Wii was like probably like their most like popular console, like the highest sales that they got since the freaking like NES and Super Nintendo.
Well,
So yeah, go ahead.
that's a bit skewed because a lot of the Wii sales were the first 18 months when every suburban mom in Middle America had to have one in the Wii Fit,
Right,
and once they got that and play with it or use it for 6 weeks, the same amount of time they might use a treadmill, they put it in the closet and never use it again. And as you watch the life cycle of the Wii, the sales just continually to drop. They couldn't even maintain. They couldn't even keep um, steady sales figures week to week. I mean month to month. They were just constantly dropping. And of course, at the heights they were going to drop.
right.
But the way they plummeted and the way they continued the downward spiral until the Wii U came out, I mean that just means to me that the Wii was a fad, and
Yeah,
then Nintendo benefited from that.
yeah. They benefited and they thought that they can ride off of that coattail by making the Wii an HD console because like when the Wii U like the first HD console because the original Wii that thing ran off of freaking component cables like that was
Right.
not an HD console
Mm-mm.
and when the next generation came out the Wii U was significantly weaker than the Xbox One and PS4
Right.
like
And
didn't even come close.
they didn't try.
Yeah, and it's like that's not what they were after. They were
Right.
after that, middle-aged, mom demographic. They wanted to hit there hard again, and
But they missed the mark. And
yeah, they missed it.
the problem they did is in going for that particular demographic, they scorned the gamers, the people that actually bought their products, the people that love their products. They kind of just turned their back on them, and I thought that was shameful. There's millions and millions of Nintendo fans, and granted, there's still hardcore Nintendo fans that'll fight you tooth and nail and tell you the Wii and the
Right.
Wii U are great consoles, and I'm not going to really argue that. I mean, Nintendo still has some of the premier IPs and
Yeah.
premier characters, premier games, but the way they just turn their back on their constituency, the way they turn their back on their users and their players, it was shameful. And how they were repaid is developers turned their backs on them,
Right. Yeah.
and
So.
that's the same thing Sega went through with Dreamcast. I mean, if the developers decide not to make games for your system, it doesn't matter how many first party titles on IPs you have, you're going to really struggle.
Right, and then they have been struggling with the Wii U, like its entire cycle. They've been struggling with the Wii U, and so, with like not that many like premier games coming out for the Wii U. There was a few hits. Smash Brothers was a hit. Smash Brothers is always gonna hit the mark. Splatoon was a surprise hit for the Wii U, and like other than like Mario Kart, Donkey Kong, there was no Metroid for the Wii U. There was no Legend of Zelda for the Wii U, or was there? Was Skyward Sword a Wii U game? I think
No,
no
Skyward Sword. That was at the end of
yeah,
life for Wii, wasn't
yeah,
it?
yeah, that was a Wii game. So yeah, they really didn't cater to their audience and give them the games that they wanted, or that they needed and they deserved for a console during this lifespan. And
Right.
now I feel like, asking customers or, clients to go out and buy an entirely new console that we don't even know how much the thing is going to cost. They're talking about it's going to be like powerful as all hell, and I'm just like, I don't feel like giving you guys any more of my money.
Well, I understand why they wouldn't have announced it at E3 because they don't have a working device, right? They don't have anything. They have the Wii U. They don't have anything else saying, this is what we have, and
Yeah,
they,
they,
it's
they
nothing-
don't they don't have anything else for the Wii U. The Wii
yeah,
U
not
is pretty much dead.
they have nothing to show.
Yeah.
And in contrary with Xbox One and PlayStation announcing their two new upcoming consoles, they do have something to show. They have the Xbox One and PS4 because this isn't necessarily a new console. This is a refresh,
Right.
right? So I mean, the Xbox One S, and don't flog me, but I did pre-order one
Oh man, why? Why would you do such a thing?
because I'm going to be buying this 4K TV. It's got 4K, not just
man.
the 4K streaming, but the 4K disc, the 4K DVD player. That way, I don't have to buy another DVD player, and I'll just wind up moving this other Xbox up to a living room or something, use as a streaming device. But I pre-ordered it. I'm a sucker, whatever.
I
You
don't
know,
know, man. I'm a little salty. I'm gonna be honest.
I
It's like, okay, so first I bought the Xbox One at full price.
yeah, I did too.
Full
Day one.
price, including the worthless fucking Connect that they completely dropped.
Blasphemy,
They completely dropped the Connect.
blasphemy.
And like, so then they dropped the price. There was all this like, oh, the Xbox One and the Kinect, it's great. Oh, here's a console without the fucking Kinect. They did that, and then like, man, I'm a little salty because I feel like developers are gonna be making games that's gonna be more compatible or work better on these newer consoles, and the people that don't want to upgrade are just going to kind of be like left with these inferior versions of games, and that's where I stand with it.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem. That's segmenting your user base. That's always going to be a problem for any company. I think that's going to be a problem going forward. I think eventually what's going to wind up happening is initial early adopters are going to wind up having to get one of the newer systems.
Yeah.
The thing with the Xbox, I believe this is, you're not going to have to get this next one that's coming out, this Xbox One S that's
No.
coming out in August and this Christmas.
Because they're coming
But
up with the Scorpio.
Yeah, but by the time the Scorpio comes out, you're going to probably want to upgrade to it. because your experience is going to be significantly less. And I have a problem with that particular issue. I mean, there are better ways they can do it. Instead of forcing a whole new device on you, a whole new $400, $500, $600 device at some points, I think that's a little much to ask of people.
Yeah, because I don't know about you, but I got bills. I can't just be I can't be just buying a new console every time.
I got two
You know,
kids, man.
it's crazy. And it's like I feel like consoles now are trying to compete or keep up with PCs, and it actually makes a lot of sense that Microsoft would upgrade their console hardware because of the kind of like integration with Windows 10.
Right.
And that's another thing that I'm really concerned about is how all Xbox One exclusives are going to be on Windows 10.
And that's something I was noticing during the E3. I was like, why does PlayStation have all these exclusives and Xbox doesn't? But as you look deeper, it's because, and Microsoft got in trouble for this a couple of years back. Remember, they used to say my exclusive, but it would be for PC, and people were like, oh, it's not exclusive, it's on the PC too.
Right.
So they drop exclusive. So if it's on the Xbox and it's on the PC, it's not considered an exclusive, which I think it should be. But that's my opinion. I mean, it's still Microsoft.
I mean,
Right?
it's a console exclusive. It's not going to show up on a PlayStation console
Right.
or like Nintendo, but
you,
it like
you have to be in the Microsoft ecosystem to play these games.
right, and that's the thing. You have to have Windows 10.
Right, which would make it a Microsoft exclusive in my opinion. But
Yeah.
that's splitting hairs. But yeah, we'll go a little more deeper because I have a
Yeah.
lot to say
Yeah,
about
we have a
this.
lot more to say about that. So we'll save that because that's going to be our long form discussion. So
Yeah.
let's go ahead and move on to the next topic, and we'll get back to that. We'll get back to that.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So our next story. Let's see here. E3 game announcements. So there was a lot of games that were announced this E3. A lot of games, and a lot of surprises. Honestly, a lot of things that either weren't on my radar or like just didn't get leaked or whatever. But there was a lot. So
There was a lot. Yeah.
so I want to run down kind of like a top, not necessarily like in a ranking order, but like 5 games that that you were glad to see or liked that they were announced this E3. Let's start with you, Boogie.
Okay. Well, I'm Spider-Man. I'm definitely
Yeah.
interested in Spider-Man.
Yeah, definitely.
Just Spider-Man. There's been what, about 4 or 5 games. They've been hit and miss. Right. There's been real
Definitely.
good ones. There's been bad ones. There's been mediocre.
Sony exclusive, by the way. Did you know that?
No, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, Sony exclusive.
Oh, so
That is
I won't
that
be
is
getting that. I don't have a
that
PlayStation,
is a PlayStation exclusive,
and I won't
uh,
be getting. I won't be getting another PlayStation until the 4.5 drop. I was going to buy one this
Yeah.
summer until I heard they were going to announce a new one, and I don't play it enough. The last PlayStation I had, all I played was baseball. So, sure, if you go look at my if you go online and look at my user ID, my PlayStation gamer tag, all you'll see on there is baseball. The show
Wow.
14, the show 15, the show 13. That's all I played, and I couldn't justify keeping the $400 PlayStation if
Yeah.
that's all I played. So I just let it go.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. But being made by Insomniac Games. So this will be
Yeah.
the first one that's not being made by who's making them? Treyarch? I think Treyarch was making the Spider-Man games for a while.
Yeah, Treyarch.
Over for Activision.
Yeah, Treyarch's too busy on Call of Duty right now.
Yeah, they're busy on that. So it's weird. Like I'm not sure if Activision still owns the rights to make the Spider-Man games. I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that.
It may not. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on with Spider-Man these days.
Yeah, there is. So yeah, Spider-Man, that was actually on my list as well. So, yeah, I'm really excited about that. There's 2 games that I always pick up. It's Sonic games for good or worse, good or bad or good, and it's Spider-Man. Like you can see, I'm wearing a Spider-Man shirt right now. I'm really excited, really excited about that announcement. It looks dope, and yeah, so that was on my list as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in it. You can call it a system seller. I was going to get a PlayStation again eventually. I'm just delayed until they release the new 4.5 or whatever, because there's no games on the PlayStation that I absolutely feel like I have to play.
Uncharted's pretty dope. That Uncharted 4, man. That
I
was
don't feel I don't feel like I have to play it though.
true. Well, the reason I got the PS4 is for games that are coming out next year. Near Ultima, which I think was showed at E3 as well, but it wasn't really announced there, so that's why it wasn't on the list. And oh god, there's Near and there's one other. Oh, that Niho. Did you play the demo
Yeah.
for? Oh my god.
Yes, I saw that. That looks really good.
Ooh.
That looks really
I
good.
played the demo. It came out like a little while back, and that joint is sick. That's
Yeah,
a sick game.
that looks real good. That's interesting to me. And like I said, I'll get another PlayStation at some point
Yeah.
when they finally release the 4.5 because I was just gonna plug down to get the VR, the PlayStation with the VR headset.
VR. Oh God, are you going down? You know, we'll save that. We'll save that discussion.
But
All right,
shelve
so
that.
let's go ahead and get through these games here.
Okay.
Next on my list was Resident Evil 7. What were your thoughts on that release?
I've stopped being a Resident Evil fan around 4.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, so I mean it's cool to see a new one coming out. And I guess there's a VR version of it that's going to be coming, and I've seen people was playing it and they thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
Some people got really deathly sick. Some
Oh.
people some people thought it was amazing. You know, I guess the VR the scenes was surrealistic, so you know they've thrown up and motion sickness and so
Oh,
on and
God.
so forth. But I hear it's supposed to be great. But I'm just not a Resident Evil fan anymore. I just
See, the thing is, I actually got into Resident Evil like during, like after it was like already not scary. Like my first Resident Evil game was Resident Evil 5, and then I went back and I played 4, and then I went back and I played 1 when they released the HD
the
remaster.
HD version. Yeah, one is that's a
So
classic.
I played those. So I have a great respect for both types of Resident Evil games, like the action oriented and like the survival horror.
The survival horror, right?
Yeah, but you know, this trailer and this like teaser, this was like a rip off of PT. It looked like, you know,
Right. It's
initially.
going. It looks like it's going back to its survival horror roots.
Yeah.
It's less of the action game, more of the survival horror, which is cool. I'm sure. I know there, and it's a couple of guys I play with. I know they've been wanting Resident Evil to go back to what it was instead
Right.
of this action shooter.
Yeah.
So it's good that it's going back. It's just nothing. It's something I'm not interested in.
Right.
That ship sailed.
Okay.
At least for me.
What's next on your list?
For me, and you're gonna laugh, but the Call of Duty Modern Warfare remaster, not the Infinite Warfare, but the original Call of Duty 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have great memories with that game. That's the actual game that got me off my PC game, first person shooter game and into console first. It was the first console first person shooter online that I felt was as good as playing on PC.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was actually my first Call of Duty. Was Call of Duty 4.
I don't think it was better than anything that was on PC, and it still doesn't beat the keyboard and mouse, but it was so accessible. It was fun. I really, it's a game I really enjoyed. I'm really excited. I'm definitely going to get that, and I definitely go back into playing some Modern Warfare.
So did they announce that the remaster would be sold separately, or do you still have to get Infinite Warfare?
I didn't see where it's going to be sold separately.
Yeah, I don't think they did that. So
Yeah,
it looks like you're gonna have to get like the deluxe version of
the Infinite Warfare, yeah.
and it comes with the Call of Duty remake.
I'm going to hold off on doing any kind of pre-orders because I'm hoping eventually they'll just let it go. They've done that a few times before, but then again this is Activision, so
Yeah, they want that money, man.
yeah. So
And like
wow.
they have been like breaking records in game sales since Call of Duty 4, and for them like not to sell with this Infinite Warfare, you know, because it doesn't really seem like a lot of people are super excited about it. Like my brother, he has been playing Call of Duty for literally forever, and he hasn't played it since I don't think he was pleased with Black Ops 3. I haven't played. I think my last Call of Duty was Modern Warfare 3.
Yep, that was my last as
That
well.
was my last one. And I tried Advanced Warfare. I didn't like it. I couldn't get with it.
I haven't touched Call of Duty since Modern Warfare 3.
Okay. So yeah,
It-
Call of Duty 4, that's legit.
and
if,
it's
if
just
they
it's the memories, man. It's
right,
just that game. It's just one of those games, you
yeah,
know.
and if they release it separately, which I'm sure they will do eventually, like it would be ridiculous for them to hold back that game.
They can release it separately for $60, and they'll probably sell as many as they sold Infinite Warfare
Yeah,
because there's so many people out there that play Modern Warfare. I mean, there are people still playing Modern Warfare when they were shutting down the 360 servers. So
right.
there's literally millions and millions of people that are clamoring for it, and
Yeah.
they will buy it without Infinite Warfare. And I wouldn't be surprised if there was a large amount of them, me excluded,
Hmm.
that would pay $60 for it.
Yeah, yeah, I agree as well. Moving on to my next game, God of War. Any thoughts on that?
That's another PlayStation game.
Yeah.
Meh.
PlayStation got them exclusives, dog.
Yeah, that's another one of the PlayStation franchises I never really got into. God
Okay.
of War. I never got into. I've played in when PlayStation 3 when they released the trilogy. I
Hmm.
played it. And I finished one and I finished two. Three got really boring for me,
Wow.
and I just didn't bother
Well,
with it.
yeah, kind of. You know what? I actually get the same feeling when I play games like in a collection, like like just playing them back to back, like
Mhm.
with like I did that with the Nathan Drake collection on for Uncharted, and like I just kind of was just like going through the motions. It felt like after a while, like so. Um, but anyway, God of War looks very. I'm very excited for God of War. It looks drastically different from what it was on the PlayStation 2 and the PlayStation 3. Like it just looks different. You see Kratos in a different light. He's older. He apparently has a son, and like it looks crazy. And I'm definitely down to get that.
So now, is it the same action adventure game as it's been the entire uh, time, or did they change it to some other type of
It actually feels more like an action adventure game instead of like a
a
beat
beat 'em
'em
up
up,
slasher?
yeah, beat 'em up like slashers, cross platformer. It actually looks more like an action adventure game instead, because he didn't have like the chains on, so there wasn't like
Right.
massive hordes of enemies that he was just like slashing down, willy nilly. It seemed a lot more intimate because he was fighting like two enemies, and like they were like both coming on him at the same time, and he didn't have all these crazy weapons to defend himself with. Plus, he had this kid that he had to worry about. So
Right.
everything seemed a lot more like intimate and like close encounters, and like
Right.
you just go ahead.
Because I watched the trailer,
Hmm.
and I saw there's the one thing where he's fighting that big dude with the thing on his back or the big stone,
Right.
and that reminds me of the game, the platform type game, but it just seems like I don't know, he's just bigger in third person.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's definitely something that I'm gonna pick up. I've been a fan of God of War. I didn't play God of War Ascension though. I didn't play that one, but I may I may pick that up and go back and play that. But yeah, definitely excited for that. What's next on your list?
One game that caught me by surprise and I thought was amazing. It looked really good was Recore.
Yeah.
Did you see that? That
Yeah.
looks like a ton of fun. Ton of fun. I miss games like that, just fun games.
Yeah, yeah. Record was actually announced last year, but they only had the CG trailer.
To see, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so this time they showed actual like gameplay and stuff.
yeah. I'm excited about that. I'm definitely really interested in that. It just looks like it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
And
Made by oh god, the ex Capcom guy that used to make the Mega Man games. It's made by his company.
yeah, what's up?
Concept. I can't think of his name. What the
Yeah, but
Kenji Inafune. Inafune.
okay.
That's his name. Yeah. So it's made by his team, and
Concept.
Yeah, Concept. Yeah, that's the company. So yeah,
And it,
that actually looks exciting as well.
and it is one of the few Xbox exclusives.
That's also coming to Windows 10.
No, it's not.
Is it? It's not?
No,
Oh,
X,
okay.
Xbox only.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm all right. Good, good. I thought that all Xbox exclusives were going to be coming to Windows 10 as well.
Yeah, this one isn't. It may
Okay.
it may come down the line, but as of E3, it's not.
Okay, okay. All right. Well, that's good. I'm actually pretty excited for that. Okay, so next on my list, and the next two games on my list were kind of like surprises. The first one is Dead Rising 4. What did you think about Dead Rising 4?
You know, I knew it was coming eventually.
Uh huh.
Yeah, I knew it was coming eventually. I was not a big Dead Rising fan. I played 2,
Mm-hmm.
but I also played 3. I really liked 3. I actually got into it for a little while, and then something else came along. And I started playing and forgot about it. But I did like Dead Rising 3. Now I'll pick up Dead Rising 4 when it comes out.
Okay.
It's interesting to me. I like it. I mean,
You get to play as Frank West. You get to play
Yep.
as him again.
Yep.
He's back.
So I'm interested. I'm definitely interested in that. That was kind of cool announcement.
Yeah, I don't know. It kind of just came out of nowhere for me. I definitely was not expecting another Dead Rising. So this was a very pleasant surprise because I didn't start off as a Dead Rising fan. I tried playing the first one, and it just really just didn't hold my interest for too long. But I did play a good chunk of Dead Rising 3. And I really liked the, like open environment, and just like going out and just doing missions, and the waves of zombies, and interacting with the different NPCs and stuff. It was a really cool game. I enjoyed it a lot. So I think bringing Frank West back into the picture, because his Frank West has that like crazy personality that just makes him perfect for these kind of games.
Right.
So I feel like that's going to be a very pleasant surprise. That was a very pleasant surprise. It's going to be a really cool game that I'm going to put a lot of time into once it comes out.
Yeah. Not another one of the ones that should be fun.
Yeah, definitely going to be a fun game.
I'm finding that lately the games haven't been as much fun as they should be.
Yeah. What's next on your list?
It's not necessarily a game. It's a character or DLC, and it's General Ram coming to Killer Instinct.
Right, General Ram.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that.
That was amazing. I saw that. I was like, it's time. I've got to play Killer Instinct again because that's awesome. That is really awesome. I like that. I love those type of crossovers, especially when it makes sense. Like, I remember a long time ago, Soul Calibur, they put Link.
They put Link in the GameCube version.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense to me. Link in the GameCube version. No, it didn't. Not Link. He's not a pit fighter, but somebody like General Ram, it makes plenty of sense because he's just a brutal maniac, right?
Yeah,
and he's gonna want to.
He definitely fits in this world.
Yeah,
he definitely fits in this world, and then that makes what the other guest characters were. You had the Arbiter from Halo,
the Arbiter, yep,
and freaking Rash from Battletoads.
Exactly.
Like, yo, Rare, like y'all need to do something with the Battletoads, man. Stop playing with my emotions out here, man. I need me some Battletoads, man. But Battletoads, like that's some old school.
That's
nostalgia.
old school.
That's some old
that was
school
a hard
nostalgia
game
right
too.
Oh hell yeah, I have it on the Rare replay. I have the Battletoads game. So
that's something I meant to buy. I never bought that.
Yeah, it's good. It's great value. it's great value, and you can probably get used. I'm pretty sure there's some used copies around.
Yeah, I'll go back and pick it up because it's something I wanted to and I just never did.
Yeah. Okay, so next on my list, and this is the last game, and this was a surprise. I don't know if it's a pleasant surprise or not, but Prey coming back after being like I don't remember. Was that the original Prey? Was that a launch title on the 360? I know it was very early. I know it was very early 360 game.
It was the first year.
Okay, so it may not have been like a launch title, but it definitely came out very early in the 360's life cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like major. It didn't like blow up or anything like that. At least not for me.
It was one of those games that didn't sell well, but the people who played it really, really liked it.
Yeah.
everybody I've talked to that played that game always told me how great it was and I should try it, so on and so forth. It just had that cult type
Yeah.
following where it's not hugely popular, but the people that played it loved it, and they thought it was a really good game.
Yeah, so instead of because I do know that Prey 2 was in development, and something happened. I'm not sure, but it got
Didn't
canceled.
the studio fold or something?
I don't remember. I don't remember exactly what happened to him. I'm pretty sure we could find out, but I do know Prey 2 was in development, and this game is not Prey 2. So this is like just a fresh, clean slate, and it's kind of just threw me for a loop because being one of those people that wasn't super into the original, I was like, well, why would they bring this game back? It kind of confused me. It's like
Yeah,
what's so good about Prey? Why?
it just has one of those cult followings.
Yeah.
It's one of those things.
Yeah, so I don't know that I would pick this one up, but I mean, it was an E3 announcement. It was kind of weird for me.
Okay, and then the last game on the list
Hmm.
for me, and it's nothing I was surprised. It's just something that I'm waiting for and continue to wait for, and it's Mass Effect. I
Yeah,
want
I'm
Mass
I'm
Effect. I
I'm
want
waiting
it
for Mass
today. I
Effect.
don't want it next year. I want it. I don't want it tomorrow. I want it right now.
Oh man,
I've
that
been,
Mass Effect is gonna be so dope when it finally comes out. I
you
can
know,
I cannot wait.
and what was a little bit disappointing for me, and maybe I missed it. They didn't say anything or about the remastered trilogy because I'm waiting for that as well.
I don't remember hearing anything about that. No.
I know a while ago they said they were going to release a remastered trilogy for both PS4 and Xbox One. I'm waiting for that because I definitely want to go through that a couple more times before they release the new Mass Effect.
I'll probably play 1 and 2 again. I don't know if I can play 3 again. I don't think my soul has recovered from that ending.
I played it. I finished that one twice. That's the only one I finished because the other one, the first one I finished like 6 times. The second one I finished maybe 10.
Uh-huh.
But the third one, yeah, the ending was really
Yeah,
yeah
I got the original ending, and then I didn't care to go back and redo it
to
to
get
get the
the fixed
alternate,
one.
the
Yeah,
fixed ending.
I did it. That's the only reason I finished it the second time. I finished because when it first came out, I think it took me.
I just wanted to see like the culmination of like all of the events that took place in throughout the entire 3 games just come together in a cohesive like and great like massive epic moment, and then it was just like reduced to this like pick a color, red, green, or blue
Oh,
or
blue, right.
whatever, and I was just like uh
Wait, what happened?
I don't know what's going on here. So
That was my response, and it took me a while. I played it the second time to see what they did. And I didn't think the revamped ending was any much better.
right.
Uh,
Yeah,
it
for me
definitely
the damage had been done.
yeah, it definitely left a sour taste in my mouth. But
But
it,
you know what I tried to do is not let the ending taint my
the
entire
experience
experience with the game, because I
exactly
loved Mass Effect 3. Like getting up into that point, it was so good. And like even like the little multiplayer sections where you would like grind up like points, or that you
right
could use to
to
increase
upgrade your
your
gear and stuff.
right. Like that, it was so fun, and I loved that game. I hated the ending though. I hated the ending to
Yeah,
the story.
the ending wasn't great.
But yeah, definitely looking forward to Mass Effect Andromeda. Um, yeah, I can't wait for that game. I don't think there's anything more we could say about about that one. It's
Right.
just like, come on out, baby, come on out.
All right. So moving on.
Yeah,
Next,
let's move on.
PlayStation VR. So
Yes.
PlayStation is going to be demoing the VR in select stores, select Best Buy and GameStops. There's a URL you can go to for PlayStation. Put in your zip code, and it'll tell you the closest store that has it. Now, the Best Buy close to me does have it. I
Okay.
did go try to check it out. It wasn't set up, of course. So I'm gonna have to go back one of these days to check it out, and I'll report back to you. But
Okay.
they've got 5 games. They got what's it? VR Worlds, E, Valkyrie, Headmaster, Battlezone, and Super Hyper Cube.
Super Hypercube.
So
Okay.
those will be the games on display. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to work. I know they said there would be time limits and all of this other good stuff, but I'll venture down into the Best Buy one of these days and see
Okay.
it set up, and we can come and talk about it.
Yeah,
But
because
that's something for you guys to look for. You go to PlayStation.com, and then click on the VR. There's a link for PlayStation VR, and you click on it. It'll say find one near you. Put in your zip code, and it'll show you a store that's close to you,
okay.
if there's one close to you.
Right, yeah, because I remember they did something. Nintendo did something similar for the Smash Brothers demo, and they did that at the local Best Buys, but the one closest to me wasn't doing it. So I was like, "Yep, not driving all the way down to Fredericksburg. Sorry, not doing that."
And Best Buy has really changed. I mean, once upon a time I worked there, but now it's just it seems like they're like a mini mall. You go into Best Buy and there's an Apple section and a
Hmm.
Microsoft section and a Sony section and a Samsung section, and these sections are actually staffed by the staff or the salespeople that in those sections are not Best Buy employees. They're employees of the section. So it'd be
Right,
like
like
so
a
that's
Samsung rep or
right.
something.
Yep, Samsung rep and the Sony reps and stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty. That's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. I'm going to say right now, I am not excited about VR, so I will not be going to my local Best Buy, and I will not be playing VR. I have absolutely no interest in VR. Freaking give me a fucking controller in hand. That's how I'm playing video games. I already wear glasses. I just picture this shit being like super uncomfortable for me. So no, I'm good. I'm good.
And then we're gonna move on to the last story.
Yeah. So our last story for today is The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. What do you think about this game? It is the first open world Zelda, and I think it's about time that they basically opened up the floodgates for the Zelda franchise and let people do what they want to do.
My thoughts exactly. I thought this was a long time coming. They should have done this years ago.
Yeah.
I think it's a good move by Nintendo. Hopefully it's not too little, too late. I know this is supposed to be coming out. It's coming on Wii U, but it's also going to launch with the new Nintendo
It's
NX.
gonna launch with the NX. Yeah.
Right. So, um, that's nice. I mean,
So it's
Zelda.
like you can get an NX and play it, or you can play that
Play,
inferior version on your Wii U that runs at 30 frames per second.
right.
That's an option for you.
I mean, when they announced the NX, I mean, I've been a Zelda fan from afar for a long time. I've played like the first four Zeldas, and I
Hmm.
loved them all. And I stopped playing Zelda for a while, and nothing has really enticed me to come back. But this is enticing me to come back and play Zelda some more.
Okay.
I'm very interested in a free world Zelda, open world Zelda game, and it, I mean, the NX is viable. I mean, if they don't try to give me a 2-year-old system and market it as brand new, top of line, and they can keep the gimmicks. I don't want a tablet as a controller, and
Right.
I don't want a Wii U wand. I want a controller with 8 buttons and 2 analog sticks
Yeah.
and vibration. If you give me that, and you give me a reasonably powerful machine and a solid online capability, I'll buy a new Nintendo and I'll play Zelda.
I'm not in a rush to get an NX. I feel like I've been burned by the Wii U. So I mean, but I do want to play this Zelda game. I'm most likely gonna get it on the Wii U. It does look amazing, and I was watching the Nintendo Treehouse live stream because like other than like Pokemon and a few other smaller like 3DS titles, Zelda was like the only thing that they showed off at E3 this year, and it looks amazing. Like Link has like stealth mechanics,
Yeah.
and like it's just crazy. It looks crazy.
On a side note, did you see the Riot to play the demo the last day?
The
These
riot?
guys,
No, I didn't see that.
yeah, these guys were just running and knocking each other over, man.
Oh
Looks
my
like
God, no, I didn't see
they
that.
were stampeding. It's like what? Nah, we're really. I could. So,
I
but
totally missed that. I'm gonna have to look that up.
yeah, that was pretty funny. But yeah, definitely, I think it's a long time coming, and if they do the NX right, I'll have one in my area here.
And you know what? I think they were actually kind of experimenting with like open world, or not necessarily open world, but like open like giving you the choice to tackle what you want when you want with the previous 3DS title, a link between worlds. I
Right,
didn't get a chance to play that one, but I do know that you could have tackled any of the dungeons in any order that you want, and it stopped holding your hand. Stopped babying you and like just like carrying you like, okay, go to point A, okay, go to point B and point C. Because if you've played the original Zelda, it wasn't about like the story, and I feel like Zelda games since Ocarina of Time have been trying to just focus on telling you an extensive story instead of allowing you to uncover a story while going through a grand adventure. And
right.
I think that with this game, they're gonna I feel like they're gonna knock it out of the park. As far as sales, I can't tell you because you know you're gonna launch it with a brand new console. I don't know how many people are gonna want to buy NX. I think I'm gonna need a lot more information on the NX if I'm ever gonna pick one up. But I have a Wii U, so I will be playing the game
Yeah,
when it comes out.
yeah. Just like I said, I'm not going to guarantee. I want to see what the NX is going to be.
Yeah.
And if it's something that's actually on par with a Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Now, when I say on par, I'm not talking about the current versions of the systems. I'm talking about the new 4.5 Microsoft, the Xbox S or Project Scorpio. It has to be
Hmm.
close to those because if it's not on par with those systems,
Yeah.
it's no point.
Yeah. If they're just gonna come out with I really think that Nintendo, if they're gonna, have any kind of longevity in the console market, they're gonna have to try and trump those consoles in terms of power and titles, because they have to win back a lot of third
The,
party support.
the developers, yeah, they
Yeah, they
need
have
to.
to they have to earn that back.
And the first step is making it easy for them to
To
develop
develop one
develop for the
exactly.
system, and for
I
them
feel
to
like
be
they
able to easily develop for the system, they have to be close in power and architecture
yeah.
to the Xbox and to the PlayStation.
Yeah, easy to port over because if not, then they're just gonna like leave it behind, and we'll
Exactly.
we'll have our annual freaking Mario Kart 9
And
coming
Super
coming
Smash
soon,
Brothers.
Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
And that'll be it. Splatoon 2, Splatoon like with a two in the name. But
Okay, well, that's it for our stories.
yeah.
If you have any comments, you can leave us comments on our page, a weekly
Hmm.
gaming news show on Facebook. Or if you have any stories that you're interested in us discussing, you can leave those up on our page as well. Again, go to Facebook, a weekly gaming news show. That's our page. Like it, love it, don't leave it.
Don't leave it, baby. Okay, so with the five news stories out of the way, let's go ahead and get into our long form discussion. And we actually we went into this in quite a bit of depth, but I kind of want to just like wrap this discussion up. And it's the consoles, is the future of console gaming, and how that's gonna like how it's gonna be for the consumers of people that have traditionally bought console. Like, what does this mean for you guys?
So I see what they're doing. I understand why they're doing it.
Right.
It's cheaper for Microsoft and Sony to add a couple of more powerful components to an existing architecture than it is to build it from scratch.
Right.
The problem I have with that is it's really not costing them much, right? Because they're using pretty much the same fabs. They're just plugging in new parts. So the
Hmm.
cost of them is pretty much minimal, as medium cost.
Right.
But passing on to the consumer, they're still selling it as a brand new system full of R&D and such, $399. In my opinion, the new Microsoft, the new the Xbox One S, shouldn't be $399. Even with a 2 terabyte drive, hard drives are dirt cheap.
Right.
Our standard hard drive for 2 terabytes you can get for less than $100 most places, less than $80 if you get a good sale.
Right.
I have a 2 terabyte external 3 terabyte external hard drive that I paid $120 for. So if you're a company buying hard drives in bulk, you're not paying anywhere near that. You might be paying $25 to $50, but the cost is too high.
I agree.
That's my first problem. Secondly, if they want to do this, what I see this as is akin to what the cell phone companies are doing. Samsung and Apple and Motorola, where every year they release a new phone.
Right.
It's worse so with Android devices than it is with Apple, because at least Apple does support with software updates, right? You get the software, you guaranteed every year to get your Apple software update, and it's usually supported for 4 to 5 years. Where Android, you'd be lucky, depending on your phone, you may or may not, depending on your phone that you carry, you may or may not get the update. And this is where I see the gaming systems are going. They're going to want to release every couple of years now. I mean, if people go out, buy these in droves, and I'm already guilty because, like I said, I'm getting an Xbox One S. But if people are going out in droves and buying these things, they're going to just keep doing it, and they're going to keep fleecing us as consumers. My personal opinion, I think there's a better way to do it. It's fairly simple. I mean, they're little computers, right? Why can't you just make a modular? Let me unplug my memory and put new memory in. Give me a memory module. Give me a CPU module. Give me a GPU module. Give me that stuff. Don't make me buy an entirely new system.
Yeah, because then you got this whole big new freaking VCR size console that you have to figure out, like, okay, well, first off, what am I going to do with this one?
The old one, right.
Unless you're trading it into GameStop or something. That's another thing that I think that consoles probably should do, but most likely will never do, and that is to give some kind of trade back policy. If you take your phone to Sprint, they'll give you the new phone, and you pay a lesser price for the new phone if you turn in the old one.
Right.
The thing is like, what the heck is Microsoft going to do with a whole bunch of OG Xbox Ones?
Well, I can tell you what they're going to do, because, like I said, this new Xbox One S is not very much different. I guess there might be some smaller parts in there, but I'm pretty certain they can rip it apart and reuse and recycle the parts instead of going by new stuff.
Yeah, I don't know.
But again, I just think having people in Microsoft not only releasing the Xbox One S this summer, but at the end of next year, what they said, it's the holiday season 2017, they're going to have a third system.
Yep.
So I mean that's too much.
I think it's way too much to ask of the community. But at the same time, like I stated before, if you don't get these newer versions of the consoles, you're going to be playing inferior versions of your games, and
right.
It's like, and that's what my problem is. And I'm especially salty with PlayStation 4, because I got my PlayStation 4 literally months ago.
Right.
Months ago, and then oh well, there's a new one, and then the thing is, this has already been a thing. We've had multiple versions of the PlayStation 3, multiple versions of the Xbox 360, but the difference is that none of those consoles were the developers didn't
they didn't change,
especially
they didn't change any of the specs. The big deal here is that they're changing the specs now.
Yeah, they're changing the specs. But the thing was, all of the games ran exactly the same.
And on top of that, the prices went down as the new systems came out too,
Right,
right?
right.
They didn't stay the same. They didn't go up. I mean, because right now you can go out and get an Xbox for $299. Am I right?
Yeah,
Am I mistaken in that? No, yeah, you can get one for two ninety
yeah.
nine. So this new one that's coming in August is $399, and then there's two more coming in, and those aren't coming into the holidays. The 500 and the 1 terabyte one, and that's $299 and $349. I mean, the prices are the same or higher. I don't agree with that.
Yeah,
I think that's
it's tough, and I honestly have no real like intention of buying it. I have no intentions on buying it because I don't know. I just can't. But it's going to be really tough for me because I don't want to have because I stream. And so
right.
like if I'm streaming the game and it's like, oh well, this person has like the Xbox One S and it looks better, it runs better, better
It's a
frame rate, like
There's a problem.
that's an issue that I am a original adopter of the Xbox One,
Right.
and because I don't want to give you guys 400 500 more dollars, I have to just deal with inferior games because developers are going to develop for the newest
The latest and greatest.
the latest and greatest.
So then my other question is, are they going to do it like they do PC games, where they develop a game and you can go in and just change the settings, or the settings automatically change? Because again, remember, Xbox is going to be running on Windows 10, right?
Right.
It's a Windows 10 kernel, so it could be that type of issue where on your Xbox One, your highest settings are only 720 at 60 frames or 1080 at 30 frames, where the One S you can get 1080p at 60 frames all the time, and then you have the ability to go to 4K, right?
Yeah.
And then the Xbox Scorpio, when that comes out, you can do 4K, and maybe you can do 4K at 60 frames or whatever the frame rate is.
I don't know,
So,
and a thing that I enjoyed about consoles, over PC was how, the games were streamlined, like across all, across the console. Like if you have the Xbox One version, this is how the Xbox One version plays, because the problem that you get with, some PC games is that it may not necessarily be compatible with your setup. A lot of people, I remember when Mortal Kombat X dropped and it had a whole bunch of like graphical issues, and on some people's systems it just didn't run, and that was mostly an issue with the developers of the PC version. But it's like I felt like, damn, if I would have got the Xbox version, I would not have this problem because it was streamlined, it was done right,
and it was
done
going to
right
work,
there,
right?
and it was going to work. So it's just really frustrating to hear that consoles are going into this direction. At least for me, it's frustrating for me because I feel like, damn, like I have all three consoles of this generation, and all three of them are being just like made obsolete within the next year or so. And what am I stuck with,
This is what, the third year of the life of Xbox? 2014, right?
Yeah, it hasn't even been out that long.
Yeah.
Hasn't even been out that long.
And like it's not unprecedented, right? So usually about 2 or 3 years they come out with a new model, but again, like you said, it's something that you don't feel you need to get. It does something you don't feel like it's going to shortchange you, because it's always just been a physical redesign.
Yeah.
Maybe a redesign of the controller, maybe a redesign of the box itself, right? Add a couple of features, add some more hard drive space.
Yeah,
so
more hard drive space. Because I remember the original Xbox 360 didn't have the hard drives, and then they came out with the ones with the detachable hard drive on the top.
Well, they had no. You can get one without the hard drive. Then they had the 20 gig hard drive.
Yeah,
And then they came out. They came out with the one that had like the 60 and the 120, I think it was.
Right. Then they came out with the one with the internal hard drive.
Right.
That you couldn't detach anymore.
Right.
So, and I never felt like I was like being gimped out of being gimped out of my gaming experience because of this new version.
Right. And the way it seems to be sussing out now is heading in that direction where
Yeah.
if you're on the original Xbox One or for original PlayStation 4 for that matter, in another year or two, you're going to be feeling game. And to be fair, it does take a little while for these developers to figure out how to use these systems, right?
Right.
So
How to use them to their full
right.
capacity.
So for the first year or two of the Xbox One S, Xbox Scorpio, and the PS 4.5, the first couple of years, it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, there may not be any noticeable differences.
Right, but as it goes on and gets older, there will be noticeable differences. And
Right.
in my opinion, and I thought I saw somewhere where they said not all games would work on both systems for PlayStation.
I think I don't know. I thought I heard that was not be the case. I'm pretty sure they said that if all games would PlayStation 4 games would work on PlayStation 4 no matter which version you had. I could be wrong, and there has been a lot of cases where I have been wrong, but because I think I paid pretty close attention to that, and I do not remember them saying that. I know on the Xbox side they did not answer that question directly. They didn't say like or yes or no.
Yeah, they sidestepped that. Feels
Yeah,
like
they sidestepped it on the Xbox side, but PlayStation definitely said that there would be no PS 4.5 games that would not work on OG PS4.
No, I thought it was the other way around. There would be PS4 games that wouldn't work on the PlayStation Neo.
Hmm? That's
That's
I
what
don't
I
know.
thought I saw. It was and I'm trying to find it, but I remember seeing where they saying it's the developers have the option to develop for either or both. If a game is going to work on a PlayStation 4.5, it will work on a PlayStation 4. But it's possible that there could be a game on the PlayStation 4 that won't work on the PlayStation 4.5.
That just doesn't even make any sense.
But either way, eventually the more powerful system will trump the less
Yeah.
powerful system, and it's going to cause problems. I think it's at the very least it'll cause fragmentation.
Yeah.
That's a minimal because there's going to be people that won't get the PS4 the next version of either the hardware because they don't want to. There's going to be people that can't get it because they're kids or they just can't
Can't
afford it.
afford it. Yeah.
And gaming as much as we want to hold it up is not a priority in most households. So I mean, you got a PlayStation 4, it works fine. Why do I need a
Why do I need
PlayStation
it?
Neo?
Yeah.
And I got an Xbox, it works fine. Why do I need an Xbox One? Unless you want to do 4K on your
Yeah,
4K
unless
TV.
you want to do. See, I'm not on your level yet, Mister Ex Best Buy employee with your 4K TV. So, yeah, we'll just have to see where that goes, and see what happens. Yeah,
It does make me worry
yeah, I'm definitely worried.
because
Definitely worried.
this if this is going to be if they do it now and it's successful, they'll do it again.
They'll do it again. Yeah, and I feel like if it's not a success, then we may not see consoles anymore.
Yeah, consoles may go away.
Consoles
Exactly.
may go away if they can't find a way to keep making
And
making
to
money.
be quite honest, I don't see, based on what's been going on in Microsoft as the corporate Microsoft as a whole, where they've been moving people around and firing people.
Yeah,
They changed their head of devices division,
yeah,
and
yeah. I
that's
heard
what
that.
Xbox is at. I wouldn't be surprised if Satya Nadella decides that we don't want to do Xbox. We're just going to put Windows 10 on everything and make Xbox software as opposed to it being a hardware device.
Yeah, just make Xbox software for Windows computers.
Anything that can run Windows to work on it. And if you want to play it on your TV, you get a Steam machine or
Yep,
something.
a
I don't
Steam
know.
machine or yeah, they'll come out with something
Right.
because it's expensive to make consoles, and right now Xbox One is not selling nearly as well as the PS4, and I feel like this could go like one of either way. for Microsoft. They can sell a whole lot of these newer versions of the console, and keep making money. Or, I feel like this if this doesn't work, that this is the end for Xbox as a console manufacturer.
It could be.
It could
It
be.
could be. I think that would be a bigger trouble spell bigger trouble for Nintendo and Sony than it will for Microsoft. Because Nintendo is all they have are consoles, right? DS, Nintendo, and the Wii. And Sony, while they have other divisions, they have the camera division. I mean, if you got a cell phone, is chances are your cell phone camera is a Sony camera. But PlayStation is one of the few very profitable divisions for Sony right now.
Yeah.
So they definitely need to keep that going.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. I just know that I am currently not pre-ordering the Xbox One S. I'm gonna hold out on that.
Yeah, I got my pretty Snow White coming.
Oh god,
soon.
it looks so good though. I saw the unboxing that Major Nelson did live on the I think it was the YouTube coverage of E3.
Of E3, yeah.
And man, that is a sexy looking console. That thing's
No Connect though.
no connect. God, that damn thing.
Blasphemy.
Blasphemy. Hashtag blasphemy. All right, guys. So I think let's just wrap up our thoughts. Do you have any final thoughts? Any closing statements you want to make on any of the stories or that we talked about today?
Yeah. Well, the console thing is a big thorn in my side. I'm sure we'll go back to that. I mean.
Yeah, I don't think this is the last time we'll talk about it.
Right. Yeah. E3 was huge. It's a lot of stuff that we didn't go over.
Yeah.
I'd love to go and touch back on some stuff here and there, especially a lot of the games that they announced. I mean, there's tons of stuff that's coming. Injustice 2. There's the new Gran Turismo game.
Oh, Lord.
Watch Dogs 2. Deus Ex.
Oh,
I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, Deus Ex. I already have that pre-ordered.
Did you really? Yeah.
Oh God, yes. Oh man, that. Ooh, as soon as I saw those freaking those like kill combos or the crush counters or whatever the hell they're called, I was like, oh my God. And he has so many new powers. Like that is going to be a fantastic game. I'm actually going to go back and play Human Revolution sometime soon.
Yeah, there's definitely a ton of games. I mean, speaking of the death of the console, I mean, if it's not going to be this year. They have this year or next because they have a ton of games coming as they look great. And I'm very excited.
2017 is definitely going to be a very good year for gaming in general.
In general, yeah.
Gaming
if you're a gamer, you'll be happy. You have something to play, and if you don't have something to play, then you're not really a gamer.
I ain't got nothing to play. Oh, what the wise words from Boogie. All right, so as for me, same with the consoles. Very, very worried about the future of console gaming, and my pockets are very, very scared because I feel like I'm going to be just dishing out lots of money. But I am excited for a lot of the new games that are coming out, new gaming experiences. I am not excited for VR. That's something that I'm definitely going to pass on because I feel like it's just going to be, just like motion controls. Everybody is like, oh, motion controls, and then it died. So I'm good.
I think I like in VR, I compare it to 3D. 3D, remember all the rage, 3D TVs, 3D movies, and it's
died.
It's still around, and if it was done right, it was great, but it never really took off. And I think VR is going to be one of those niche type products where there's going to be a place for it, but the place isn't in everyone's living room.
Right, I agree with that. And with all of that said, we are going to go ahead and sign off. You can follow us on Twitter at AWGamingNS. Follow us on our Facebook. All of the information will be down in the description. Send us any comments, like we said earlier. Any comments or stories that you want us to cover or hear our opinions on, please just leave us any feedback. We would greatly appreciate it. My name is Trenell, and I'm here with
Todd.
aka
Boogie.
Up
Jump the boogie.
Up jump the boogie. And we will see you guys next week.
Later.
Peace.